everybody. Welcome to the Fairview Podcast. My name is Pastor Stewart. I am so thankful that you were able to be with us for this recording. Our recording tonight, we are following service, and I've got Pastor Tommy Williams from the Clanton Church of God joining me tonight. Hey, Tommy.
Hey, Stewart. Good to be here.
Yep, good to have you. He preached for us tonight for our closing service Tuesday night of revival, and if you were listening in, you were a part of that service. Man, what an awesome service that we had. But we are recording this directly after, and you've got to get up and drive a school bus in the morning.
Yes, sir.
And I was like, now, Tommy, we can wait on this. He's like, nope, I want to do it. So thank you, Pastor Tommy, for being with us tonight. Let's give me a little bit of a recap. How do you feel like service went tonight?
And it was powerful. The preaching, enjoyed preaching, but the altar service was so powerful. Many people came, needs were met, praying through, and just getting delivered. It was so powerful.
Yeah. What was, before tonight, how was God leading you into tonight? What were you expecting? Was it something you, did you come in expecting one thing and something else happened, or how did you prepare coming in?
No, it was what I expected. God started it on me a few weeks ago about that word, and I felt it. And I just felt like when I walked in before everyone got here, it was just I could feel it in the presence of the Lord in the building.
Yeah,
and I knew God was going to move.
Well, man, you preached an awesome job, and you give us a quick recap of what you prayed. I know this is gonna be hard. This is hard. The oil, the difference is in the oil.
Difference is in the oil. We need the presence of God.
Yep.
And just like in David's life, that oil turned him from a shepherd into a king.
Yeah.
And there's power in the presence of God, and it just makes all the difference in the world.
Right. Right. Man, that altar service though, people, that's one thing I love about my people here at Fairview is that they stay with you in the altars.
They are hungry.
Yep.
And you can tell it. You can tell that when people are hungry and they begin to pray and begin to seek God, and then they begin to pray for one another. That was one of the things probably that stuck out to me the most was the altars were full, but man, there were people there. When they did pray, they turned around and they were praying for others. And man, that's what it's all about.
Right.
That's what it's all about.
So that encouraged me too. So that's good stuff. Well, let's, before we dive into our main topic, I told Tommy that this is an icebreaker game called
Bruh.
No Cap. I hope Mitty listens to this.
It's going to be low-key fire.
Low-key fire, bruh. Icebreaker, it's called This or That Pastor Edition. Okay, so quick answers. You can't overthink them. It's kind of like the first thing that comes. Notes or no notes?
Notes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Morning service or night service?
Morning service.
Morning. I love that free evening. How about you?
Absolutely. 100.
So, all right, we're not going to go there. Old hymns or new worship?
New worship.
Yeah,
I like the old. It depends on what mood I'm in.
There you go.
I want the song that God's in. If he's in a redback hymnal, we'll sing him. If he's in worship, we'll sing it.
All right. Coffee before preaching or after?
Before. Carefully.
Yeah, let's leave that. Suit and tie or jeans?
Jeans.
Yeah, you had some jeans on tonight, so that was good. What's the longest sermon that you feel like you've preached?
On Sunday, you're going to get about 30, 35 is all you're going to get out of me. But if I got a lot, I want to say 40. That's about it, man.
Hour and a half.
That's all I've got left.
Dude, I'm not going to tell you who. I'm not going to tell you who at all. But when I'm just going to say a former church of mine, my pastor brought in an evangelist, and he preached for 3 hours. 3 hours. My wife and I, we stood up, and we took our kids and we left. And we went to go eat. And what was sad is as soon as I took my first bite, the pastor and the evangelist walked in. I was like, "Hey, y'all."
Let my people go.
I'll tell you after the podcast who it is, but I'm not going to tell you right now. Early bird or a night owl?
Early bird.
Yeah.
Early bird.
Early bird gets the worm.
That's right.
I like doing my stuff early in the morning, don't you?
I do too. I have to I never know what my day is going to turn into.
God, ain't that the truth, man? Ain't that the truth? We never know what's going to happen in our world. All right, bonus. What's the funniest thing that's ever happened to you while you preach?
You got me.
Let me tell you, it didn't happen to me because I want you to think about it.
All right.
It didn't happen to me. It happened to a pastor of mine. He was about to start preaching, and his fly was unzipped. His fly was unzipped, and we kept pointing, saying, "Your fly's unzipped. Your fly's unzipped." And he wouldn't get it, and so he finally turned around to the choir, and the music pastor said, "Your fly's unzipped." And he goes, "Oh my God."
Well, I tell you, I probably tell you one of the funniest things I've had happen in church. It wasn't me preaching, but it was still one of those. It's been several years ago. We were in church on a Wednesday night, and we were all sitting on the front row. And this guy, they were up there leading the singing. Back that's the kind of church I came up in. They got up there and led, and so we're sitting there on the front row, and they called out the page number in the song book they were going to sing. And one of my friends, he didn't hear the page number. He looked at me and he said, I could read his lips. He said, "What page?" And I just told him the first one to come to my head. He starts out on one song. Everybody else is on another.
Oh, my God.
Crazy, man. Crazy.
Oh, gosh. There's so many stories I feel like we could share.
Yes. I would probably think of 50 on the way home.
That's fine. That's okay. We'll just send them to me in the MP3 and we'll say it again. All right. So we're going to kind of change gears and transition. We're both pastors. But before we are pastors, we are husbands and we are dads.
Yes.
We spend a lot of times, a lot of our time trying to help other people's family. But God's given us a family that we're responsible for to lead and protect. And one verse of scripture, obviously it's a very powerful one. It's a main one, but Joshua chapter 24, verse 15. And Joshua doesn't say, "As for my house, we will serve the Lord." He says, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." So he prefaces and says that I have a duty as well. And so today's topic is the battle for your home. Would you say that there is a battle for our homes bigger now than there ever has been?
Greater spiritual warfare than we've ever seen.
Yep.
So yes, it is a battle every day. The things that are coming at us, coming at our home.
Well, the one thing too is that there's a lot of talking points. I feel like we could go here tonight, but the enemy never destroys a family overnight. He does it slowly. And I heard somebody one time tell me, when the enemy comes to you, he doesn't hand you a huge chain and said, "Here, bound yourself, make yourself bound." He gives you a link at a time, which is an opportunity to sin.
Yes.
And so what do you think is the greatest battle families are facing right now?
I think I can say for a dad raising a young daughter now, we've got two that are older and have families of their own. But I believe that the enemy, one of the main things he's after is the identity.
Yeah.
If he can rob the identity, and the things that we teach our kids, they go out into a world that tries to deprogram them,
Right.
and fighting that battle.
Right.
The place where Maddie goes to school, Maddie goes to a private Christian school, so we don't have that battle per se.
Yeah.
But I have seen it, and I think if he can get to the kids, that's who he's after, man.
Yeah.
Identity.
Yeah, I think that's good because you see a lot of identity crises, identity problems in the world today. And so, talk about phones. I mean,
Yes.
social media, schedules.
Yes.
It's a huge trap. And so, like, one thing my kids hate, but they're going to love me for it one day, is that every electronic device stays in our bedroom at night. It always stays in our bedroom at night to charge. Yeah. And so, like summertime, we were talking about this, Lindsay and I were talking about this, like it kind of slipped a little bit because we're off at camp and General Assembly camp meeting. But like they have access, we've talked about this before. If someone had a pornography problem, they would have to go to an adult bookstore, or Blockbuster had a separate section. Now kids have it right there on their phones, no matter what. And so there is, like even on like TikTok, and I heard that Roblox, there are people that are getting on these games and talking to our kids and trying to get them to do things like, meet me outside, or they're trying to figure out who they are, and so that's what we have to be careful of.
Just piggybacking off that, one of the things, just like you said, they have access to so much,
right?
But also other people have access to them,
right?
So what you got to watch, just like what you said. Yes, they can go to all the any websites you want, but just like you said, other people have access to them.
Yeah,
and you have to guard against that.
Yeah. So one thing I want us to talk about for just a minute is you have to lead with what God's entrusted you with. Joshua makes a declaration about it. It was not like an idea. It was a declaration, because leadership is not just something that you do just to people in your church or people at work, but you have to lead your family. So I don't know, this is kind of, you could go in different ways, but how do you lead your family?
I've learned, I was watching a video one time. It was a man just talking about being men and things like that. And he said in this video, and it makes so much sense, he said, if you're going to be the leader in any organization, your home, church, whatever, sometimes the leader has to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
And I've never forgotten that.
Right.
I have to be the bad guy in Maddie's eyes sometimes. And it's not because I'm a bad guy, but I'm protecting her.
Right.
And I think some men just have a hard time being the bad guy.
Right.
Sometimes leadership's lonely, and it's lonely when you make decisions and not everybody understands it in the moment, but you have more information than they have.
Right.
And so I think sometimes you just got to be the bad guy.
Yep. That's good. So the way that I lead is I am the bad guy. That's encouraging. That's really encouraging. What does, in your opinion, all right, so here's two questions I'm going to ask. First one is, and I want you to answer it. What does spiritual leadership look like in your home?
I think
practical things.
I think spiritual leadership, I believe it is a servant's heart. You lead from a servant leadership position. I serve my family.
Yeah.
I serve them by what can I do to help them, their life be better.
Yeah.
And when they see me, when they know I'm praying like I should, when they know I'm in my word like I should, when they hear me be vulnerable, tell my daughter I love her, tell my wife I love her, and it's like we've told Maddie, I've told my daughter, my oldest son, I'm teaching Maddie what to expect when she gets older. Yeah. And so if I can show her that, I just believe by serving my family is the best way I can lead them.
Yeah. Now, how do you lead? How does mom and dad lead together?
I think one thing, kids by nature, I was a kid one time, but we were both kids one time.
Yep.
But sometimes they can be manipulative.
Yeah.
And if they can manipulate one parent against the other, that's when they win the battle.
Yep.
But I believe if mom and dad are on the same page, they may not agree in the moment,
right,
and they may have to go behind closed doors to talk about it. But if the kids can see what, for lack of a better term, a unified front, mom and dad on the same page, that is to me, that's the best.
Absolutely. Yeah, because I remember one time, and I'm going to tell on us here for a minute, is that our oldest son, Kason, came to us and said, or he came to me and he said, Dad, he said, I want NBA 2K27. I said, okay, how much is it? $99. Do what? $99 for a digital video game? What does it come with? And he said, it comes with 100 VR and 100,000 VR or something. I said, absolutely not. Well, guess what he did? He puts his head down and he goes and asks his mama. Mm-hmm. And his mama said, sure, that's fine. And I'm like, what are you doing? So you have to lead together. If not, you're going to be broke poor.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Here's one thing I wrote down. You don't lead your family by telling them where to go. You lead them by going first.
That's exactly right. I was in EMS for a period of time, and I interviewed for a field training officer position. And I was in the room with the director, the assistant director, and a supervisor. And so in this meeting, they asked me, they said, what, in your mind, what is the difference in a boss and a leader? And I said, a boss will tell you how to do it, and a leader will show you how to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anybody can point. Anybody can tell you to do this, this, and this. But if a leader will show you how to do it.
Yeah.
And again, I go back to praying. I go back to in the Word. I go back to loving out loud. I mean, we never leave the house without saying, "Hey, I love you." You know, I believe that's the kind of environment that I want Maddie to be in one day.
Right.
So.
What does your schedule? I know this is kind of like a broad question again, but what does your schedule look like as a pastor, from morning to night?
There are times that I'm able to be at home. A lot of times I'm in my office. My day, I may be in the hospital.
Because you are a person that has a morning ritual. I know you do.
Yes.
I know you do.
Yes. I try my best, like I said, to go get everything done in the morning, because I'm an early riser anyway.
Yep.
And so if I can get everything done, because I don't know how my day's going to go.
Yep.
And everybody's wired different.
Right.
I'm better off. I'm a blank slate when I get up in the morning. So it's better to be that way, because if I'm up all day long and then I go to my office at 4:00 in the afternoon, I'd be better off going fishing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I just can't.
We wouldn't get nothing done.
No.
Yeah. So I know that like reading and praying and stuff like that is like early morning. That's the best time to do it. I know that I used to try to do it at night, but my mind was so
I can't
bogged, and I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, I'm chasing rabbits.
Yeah, so I had a pastor one time tell me, I said, "What time do you usually get up in the morning?" He said, "I get up at 4:00 every morning to read and pray." And I'm like, "Holy smoke!" And I was in college. And I'm like, 4:00. I only see 4:00 one time.
Yeah, there is 2 4s.
Yeah,
there is.
I said I only
4:00s.
see it once a day. And he said, "I said, how do you get up that early in the morning?" He said, "Discipline.
Yeah.
It's all about discipline."
Yeah.
And so you got to get up. So for me, it's better to get up early in the morning before anybody is awake.
Yes.
You know, you make your coffee. Some people are like, I make my coffee and drink. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I almost said drink the news, which is the same thing.
Yes.
Watch the news. You know, you let the dogs out and you watch the news, drink your coffee. But man, I've got to get myself in the Word, and I've got to have the Word for the day.
Yes.
That's
the way I do it.
You got to lead. You got to lead by example.
Yes.
You got to lead by example. You got to protect your home. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 6 and 7 talks about how our families need more instructions about God. They need to see God in us. Mm-hmm. They need to see us pray. They need to see us worship. Here's another one. How important is it for us to show them forgiveness?
Absolutely. Me and Jennifer have talked about this so much. God, through my kids, I've learned so much about my relationship with God.
Yeah.
Because how many times have you looked at Kason or any of them and say, what in the world were you thinking? Mm-hmm. How many times has God looked at me and said, hey, knucklehead,
yeah,
what in the world were you thinking?
Yep.
And so at the same time, at the end of the day, there's nothing that my kids could do to make me not love them. Yep. There's nothing that my kids could do to make me not want them. That is just, I've learned so much about a relationship with God through my kids.
Yep. That's true.
With him.
Kids humble you too, don't they?
They do.
Oh my gosh.
Especially Maddie Faith.
Mitty will definitely.
She tells me I'm fossilized.
I'm sorry that I shouldn't have laughed at that, but I did. I wish she was here tonight because she would have.
If I've heard it one time, you're an unk. I've heard it.
Unk is keyword. You're getting old. Oh God. What are some things you've had to say no to because you knew that it wasn't healthy for your family? I know it's another broad question, hard question.
Well, I mean, there's been, I can just be honest here. It's been several years ago. We were in a situation and we had an opportunity to move where I was pastoring. And it was an opportunity for us to get out from where we were, but God just wouldn't.
Yeah.
I told my wife, I said, we're going to have the opportunity to go. I said, but we can't. And she's like, are you sure? And I'm like, yes, I am positive. And so we ended up, the door open for us to go, but I had to say no.
Yeah.
And it was for that. It was for that reason.
Absolutely. It was for your family.
Yes.
And so I know that it's, we had an opportunity to move too. And it was like something that for us, you try to force something. And I remember the day before it was supposed to be our last Sunday. And I finally told my wife, I said, I can't do it. And she said, thank God. It's about time you finally recognize. And so I'm thankful that we didn't, and God kept us,
Don't you hate it when they know and don't they just know?
Yeah. We should have brought them into this,
Yes.
Because I felt like they would have a lot more to say.
Yes. Don't tell anybody I said that about Jennifer, but
I won't. Shh, we won't
That's
say
just between
anything.
us.
We won't say anything at all. All right. What's the worst thing, Jennifer? I'm just kidding. I learned something. No, I'm just kidding. She's going to be listening to this. She'll be like, Tommy Williams, are you kidding me? And anyways, man, I don't know. I think it's important. And I know that we're in the middle of this revival. And I don't say this as, platitudes or anything. But my music pastor came up to me before we started this revival. He said, hey, Pastor, I've got this situation. He said, I won't be there won't be there Monday night. And I said, okay. He said, my son's got a ball game. I said, you are not to miss that ball game. You do not miss that ball game. You need to go to it because, he gave me 30 minutes and he left and was able to make his son's ball game. And I said, to myself, I'm thinking that his son is not going to remember what song he sang, but he's going to remember him at that ball game. And a lot of people will be like, man, you should have told him. No. It's important for him to be where he was.
Yes.
And, God wants us to take care of our family. God wants us to lead our family. He wants us to be a gatekeeper for our family. And, another thing to think about too is that we are fighting for our family, not with our family, or more or less fighting at our family. Yes. The Bible says in Ephesians chapter 6 that we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Your spouse is not the enemy.
That's right. Remember that, Tom.
Remember that, Stewart. Remember that, Stewart. Your children are not your enemy. What marriage disagreements, parenting frustrations, forgiveness, communication, is it important for us to recognize when the enemy is trying to create division amongst the most important establishment?
Yes. I think in a marriage, we know each other. Our spouses know us. They know more about us than anybody else. And you can just tell when things are off.
Yeah.
And you can tell. My family, me and Jennifer, Maddie's just us three at home now, and we just have a rhythm. We have this is what we do, and we like peace, and you can just tell when the enemy's just picking and picking and picking.
Yep.
Back up and say, hey, this is not us, man.
Yep.
This is not who we are.
Yeah. You got to, like how you said, you have to recognize that. And you said it tonight. You said it tonight from the pulpit. One of the greatest spiritual gifts that people need today is discernment. You've got to have discernment.
Yes.
And I remember one time I was praying, Tommy. I was praying that God would give me a vision for my church. And he spoke to me early morning and said, when was the last time that you prayed for a vision for your family?
Yes.
Man, that just wrecked me.
Yes.
In my prayer, I pray this prayer every day. God, make me into the greatest husband, father, and pastor.
Yes.
I used to pray, God, make me into the greatest husband, father, and pastor that this world has ever seen. But then it shifted from God, make me into the greatest husband, father, and pastor that my family has ever seen.
Yes.
Because I see, you and I see this, a lot of preachers' kids, people don't understand preachers' kids.
Not at all.
Because tonight, your kids are doing something in the middle of service that you don't agree with. They're young, and you get on to them. You got to have discipline. They have to be disciplined. But as preachers' kids, I feel like they have no room to fail.
They don't, and that's sad because what's sad is that PKs sometimes are not given the same grace that we're expected to give everyone else as kids. And we live in a glass house, and it's my kids, they've been in ministry their entire life. They've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
And Jennifer and I have always tried. We've not been successful, but we've always tried to keep the bad stuff between us.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's sad. But I've seen so many pastors try to hold a church together while their family's falling apart.
Right.
And I can't see myself doing it. I'm just not going to.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of one thing, too, to think about is that there's a lot of really incredible preachers of the gospel, but they've lost their families.
Yes.
And I remember one time there was a pastor's kid that was talking to us a long time ago. And they said, Pastor told me to tell you. And I went, whoa. Do what?
Yeah.
Pastor told me, oh, he's not pastor. He's your dad.
Yes. Yes.
Like he's your dad. And okay. And this may be you, but when your wife talks about you from the pulpit, what does she call you?
She calls me Tommy.
My wife calls me Stewart. I told my wife, if you ever call me pastor, I will run away.
Yes. I'm Tommy.
Yeah.
I'm Tommy.
Call
when
me
I can't, it's the little things. I noticed your two girls were here tonight before church, just running around, just running around. I mean, she was calling me Jim, Tim, whatever she wanted to call me. But but that's what they're used to, man. They're familiar with this. They're PKs. They're running around church. And, Maddie, I mean, when we first moved to Clanton, she still liked me when we first moved there.
Yeah. Yep.
And she would
used
go
to.
Yes. She would go to the office with me, and she had this balance beam. And Maddie, that kid would flip, cartwheels, perfect cartwheels, any kind of tumbling. I would take her balance beam in there in the sanctuary, and she'd just do gymnastics in the
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. And it's like, you know what? I want her to be familiar with it, man. I want her to be familiar with all those things.
Oh, Mitty.
Mitty.
One time Rick told me that he I probably shouldn't say this out loud. My father-in-law, he said he went, I don't know if it was Erica or Lynn. I think it was Erica. They had Sunday night church, and Gina had left early, and she said, do you have the girls or whatever? Yeah. I got them. Well, Rick gets home, and she said, where's Erica? And he goes, oh, no, she was under the front pew asleep at the church. So he had to go back to the church and go get her. I think it was Erica. It might have been Lindsay, but no, it's my sister-in-law. Can
I say this before we move on? I know that we talked about the bad things that they see, but I will say this, that God has placed people in our lives that have loved me, my wife, and my kids, not because they had to, but because God placed them in our life.
Yep.
We had one of them a few years ago. She was an adopted Nana for Maddie, and she went to heaven. And then her husband died just the last weekend.
Right.
And it's like, those are the people God places in your life to love you and to care for you. That they don't want anything out of the relationship. It's just that God placed them in your life to simply love you.
Yep.
And if I've often said this, it's because of ministry. I've met both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
But some of the greatest people in my life I would have never met had it not been for ministry.
Yep. That's true. Man, that's good stuff. That's a really, really good point, because I think a lot of times we focus in on the bad side of ministry, but where we are right now at Fairview, man, it's just such a good place, and there's such good people, and they love my family.
When we moved to Clanton, we had came out of a really hard season.
Yeah.
We were on the other side of healing. God was blessing us. God was helping us. And when we walked into Clanton, we followed a long-term pastor. And in your mind, your jaded mind, you walk in the door, you're like, who's going to be the first one?
Right.
But those people have done nothing but loved us, honored us, and respected us. They have taken us in. The former pastor is a mentor to me.
Yeah.
And it's like God finally got us to the people that they just love us.
Yeah.
And I could not imagine myself being anywhere else.
Yep.
I just couldn't.
Yep. That's true. I told somebody at General Assembly, I said they could offer me a youth director job at a 5-star, 6-star state, and I would say absolutely not. I said we are in such a good place, and we are where God wants us, and I don't say that lightly. And so it's a good place for the church. It's a really good place for for our family. So this has been pretty good discussion so far. And we'll kind of we'll kind of land the plane here. Final question. If you could sit across from a husband, wife, mom, or a dad who feels like they're losing their family right now, what would you tell them?
First off, I'd tell them there's hope. There's always hope.
Yep.
If there's breath, there's hope.
Yeah.
And I would tell them that there's nothing Jesus could not fix.
Right.
And I would tell them my story because I've been broken. Our family has been burnt out to the point of just, we're ready to go do something else.
Yeah.
And I would just tell them there's hope.
Yeah.
And there's hope. There's not a hopeless case.
Yeah.
As long as Jesus is on the throne.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good thought to think about because, when God calls us to lead our home, I love how you said there's always hope, but God doesn't call us to have a godly home to be a perfect home.
No.
A godly home I think that, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think homes go through seasons.
Absolutely.
Homes go through seasons to where sometimes it's fruitful, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's ugly, but I feel like every season is a growing season.
Yes.
You're going to lose your temper.
Yes.
But his mercy is new every morning.
And that's the thing about your family, man. Mine, they've seen me at my best and they've seen me at my worst.
Absolutely.
And they still let me sleep in the house.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank God for that. Maddie Williams, you are such a good daughter.
She's a rock star.
Yeah. Thank you for allowing your dad, who pays the bills, to stay in the house. Oh, God. Mitty, you are such a good. Anyways, clock it, drop it. She's gonna be like, "Please stop it right now."
Mitty, I need you to lock in, baby.
Mitty, lock in. Quit being mid and lock in right now, girl. Come on. No, it's important for us as dads to lead our family. And I remember one time, my wife looked at me. We were youth pastors at this point, and I felt like I was gone 5 days a week. And I was always doing something. We were always busy. Some people would probably say not, but we were very, very busy. We were churching it. We were visiting. I was going to ball games. And there was times where I let the family stay home. I didn't make them go all the time with me. Then there were times I'd take them with me. But I will say this, that when my ministry was at its best, when I had the biggest student ministry, for me, when I had the biggest student ministry at that moment, my family was at its worst.
Yeah.
I was losing my family for the sake of student ministry. And I remembered a vow I made to the Lord, but also my father-in-law told me when I asked for his permission to marry his daughter, I asked him the other day if he was ready to get her back, and he said, "Oh no, oh no,
no returns,
no returns." He laughed. He's a good sport, but he said, "You do me a few things." He said, "You'll be a godly man, you'll be a family man, and you'll be faithful to your church." I said, "Yes, sir. I sure will."
That's good advice.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, you have to lead your family. You have to protect your family because you're the gatekeeper. You're one of the gatekeepers for your family.
Yes.
What you let in, you have to be present.
Yes.
Talk about being present versus presence.
I think that is one of the things in the last, it's been the last several months God's really dealt with me about, because you can be present and your presence is there, but you can still not be present.
Right.
When our presence is in the room, but if our nose is in our phone, then we're not present.
Right.
In the moment.
Right.
When Maddie walks in a room and when Jennifer walks in a room, I do my best. If I'm on my phone, I do my best to lay it down.
Yeah.
Because I want them to know, man. Or if we're out eating somewhere, man, I lay my phone down, man. You've got me. This is us. I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm in the moment.
Yep. That's true. Well, you're a great dad. You're a great pastor. Thanks for joining me tonight. Thank you, Pastor Tommy, for joining me, and thank you to everyone for listening. Is there anything you want to say before we close?
Man, I've enjoyed this day. It was my high honor to be here with you, man.
Man, absolutely.
And I appreciate you and Lindsay a lot.
Well, we appreciate y'all's friendship, and y'all are family to us. Thank y'all, everyone, for listening tonight. Remember that we are on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube. Be sure to listen in. Thanks for being with us. We love you guys. See y'all soon.